Welcome to the Fighting Couch Potatoes. I'm Kadawfi Crush, and I'm joined by MattMatt.
Boji has ultra instinct. You can't convince me otherwise.
And my boy Liquid Gold Steve.
Oppies is the fucking most confusing, complicated character in that whole show.
If you have no idea what we talking about Boji, aka the ranking of kings. This is one of my literal favorite animes since 2021. This is like my favoriteest thing ever. I've been trying to convince these boys to watch this show. This 23 episodes of a kick-ass anime that nobody seems to be talking about. Been trying to get them to watch this for about a year now, and here we are at the Fighting Couch Potatoes on the podcast, getting ready to talk some shit about the ranking of kings. What's up, Steve?
When did it come out? Because you said that you kind of dropped off anime for a while, and then you came back and you found this. Like, when did it actually come out?
2021.
2021 for real?
2021.
Oh, damn. It does look good for, like, if it was an older anime and it had that kind of detail in it,
Yeah,
I'll be like,
that'd have been crazy.
But I was just wondering, because you did say you kind of went away from it and you found it, and I was like, okay, maybe you found it in like 2016, 2015, because
I just found it last year when I told you all about it. When we were talking about Brain Busters and all that cool shit. I literally just watched it. The ranking of Dorsey. the Ranking of Kings is a show about a world where kings and kingdoms are ranked. For the number one kingdom to be number one, they get to go into like the gods' hall or the gods' treasure room, the treasure room of the gods, and pick out a gift from the gods. We kick our show off with a little fella, a little itty bitty fella with big old eyes. He's deaf and he's mute, and his name is Prince Boji of the Kingdom of Boss. Little Prince Boji, he's in his kingdom, he's kind of a loser. Kind of nobody cares to talk to him. They all think he's weird.
the foot of the joke.
He's the butt of the joke. He's the in his own kingdom, they disrespect him openly because he's deaf, mute, and unfortunately extremely weak. This is probably one of the weakest main characters I've ever seen in an anime before.
But I do have to say, him being weak physically doesn't take away from his mentality. He doesn't have like insane confidence, but he has confidence enough in himself that you don't have to worry about like him questioning what he's going to do. And if he does have to question himself, he has friends to back him up.
Right.
And his first friend is
Shadow Man named Kage.
Translation: shadow.
He's not the white shadow, he's the shadow.
Kage literally looks like the shadow at 12 o'clock. Like that little round shadow, except he has two big old eyes, I think 2 arms, and a weird mouth arm thing.
I think that's more of his mouth than
That's a
anything.
pocket.
It's like a void. To me, it's like a void.
That dude has some inventory in that pocket.
He does.
Best follower you can ever.
You know,
get.
he had Boji's like life savings, had Boji's sword in that
all
thing.
his clothes.
He threw all his clothes out.
Like if he's just sitting there by himself, he looks like a bad boob job. Like
It's a little
because
off.
he's like flat and his eyes are funny. He like 2 eggs in a frying pan if it was all black. I mean, but Kage shows up, meets Boji, and he's trying to convince Boji to bring him nice clothes because he can tell Boji dresses as if he's royalty or a child of a duke or something like that. You know, he got money. So Kage tricking Boji, he even tricked him out of his clothes literally and had Boji walking through his kingdom in his drawers.
He didn't give a fuck though. That was the funniest thing.
Well, you couldn't hear him.
No, he could hear him.
He couldn't hear him at all.
He got what the fuck?
Boji can't hear shit. But
he could read lips. So
he could read lips, and this was one of the cool parts in the beginning of the show is you get to see a couple little kids run up on him, and it's like, "Hey, Mister, why are you fucking weird?" And it's like, "Oh, well, he's not weird; he's just deaf." And it's like, well, that makes him really weird.
You got to think about it from their point of view. Like, besides them knowing he's a prince, he's like 14 to 17 years old.
I think he's like 18.
I think he's like 18 is what I was trying to piece together. I know he's tiny,
but he's a giant.
But he
kind of. I mean, his dad's a giant.
He is a giant.
He's
a literal
He's
giant.
a full-blooded giant, but he's not a giant.
It's sort of, kind of. Boji living in the kingdom of Boss. King Boss being his father. When we first get to meet him, he's sickly. He's ill, about to pass on. We also get to meet his second wife, Queen Hilling. We get to meet the Big Four. We got Domus, a.k.a. Prince Charming.
He is Prince Charming.
We got Dorsey, a.k.a. that.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. I don't care. He is. He don't care. As long as the queen is okay, he's straight. He could be losing both his legs, both his arms, and be like, "Is the queen alive? Okay, it's fine then."
I still can't get up that. Dorsey is literally "'tis but a flesh wound"
incarnate. It's actually the names of these guys are Domus the Swordmaster. He's actually Boji's trainer and handler. We have Dorsey, the Shield of the Queen. It's literally his job. We have Bebin, the Snake Handler. He takes care of Queen Hilling's son, Dida. And then we also have Apis, Spear of the King.
When I heard the first time hearing Uppy's like name, it felt like, you know how like a kid's like, up, I want Uppy's, Uppy's, I want Uppy's. And man, like I said, Uppy's like to me is like the most complicated, confusing character because like he's literally like split. But we're gonna talk more about that later when we get into more of the particulars. Bebin is like the silent homie you always want.
Oh yeah,
like I'm telling you, him and Domus.
Like Bebin is the one that like if you were gonna go fight somebody, he's gonna jump in, but you didn't even know he was there.
You don't know when he's gonna jump in.
You didn't even know he was in the room. But Bebin's in there. Apis, that dude's vicious with spears. That guy throws a spear like an anvil falling from 20 million feet in the air.
I thought when I first saw him like crouched like a crow on top of the building, I thought he was like losing his like. He looked like the oldest one in the guard. That's what it.
I see you.
But it was like when you start watching the show, it's like, nah, he's the realest in the guard.
He is he's the most honorable, I think, in the guard. The big four are the last bastion of the kingdom of Boss. So I mean, they have their own guards, their own what do you call it?
Units.
Their own units, right? They have their own units. They defend the kingdom and they do pretty much what they're told, but they're also like the toughest guys in the kingdom besides King Boss.
Because King Boss made sure they were the toughest motherfuckers in the building.
That's right. Now King Boss is a giant, a literal giant. They mention it in the show, but it doesn't really seem to be like that big of a deal that he's a giant. King Boss's first wife, first queen, I can never remember her name, but she's Boji's mother.
Yeah, they really didn't, like, if it was once or twice in the thing, they really didn't speak of it. It's always been, like, Boji's mom.
They showed her later on in the show more often.
They did, but she, in the beginning, they said her name at least 3 times, but it blows right by me.
You just know that she's dead.
You know she's Boji's mama, because she has Boji's face.
She does have
Boji's face.
Like, Boss, like, gave her the genes, but she literally, that's Boji.
She was like, I don't need your genes, Boss.
But she was a giant too.
Yeah, she's literally the strongest woman on the planet.
Am I fucked up for thinking when they showed the scene where Boss come in the room after Boji was birthed, and like he's barely a speck in Boss's hand? I was like, so that was just the easy birth for you, huh, lady?
I thought the same thing. Like she was like, I'm going into labor. Where'd he go? It was like for her. When I first saw it, I was like, okay. Maybe Boji's just really little and they have babies like kangaroos. That's what I first thought. It was like, nah, Boji he didn't get bigger. I believe he's like 17 or 18, but dude looks 10.
When he went for training, I think that's when he turned 18. I think he was in that range because like when you see him with Prince Dida, the other prince, Queen Hilling's son, when Dida is young, they're about the same height. And It's like you can't really, because Boji still has the puffy face, and Dida gets the puffy face because I'm guessing it must be like the giant way they get puffy faces.
I just assumed it was a way to show them as being like little chunky kids. Like babies are chunky.
But those are chunky kids.
Those are chunky
kids.
Sure. Boji was chunky.
Boji was
chunk.
With little skinny legs too.
And he moving around that damn fast, trying to steal cake from the queen.
Dude was quick with the viciousness. So So to the people being introduced, we mentioned King Daida or Prince Daida a couple times. Excuse me. He's Boss's second child. He's Queen Healing's first child, and
Only.
yeah, he's Queen Healing's only child. Excuse me, her oldest child and only child. That's genetically hers. Although she treats Boji essentially,
it's her.
Yeah, but when you first get into this show,
Not so evil.
When you first get into the show, you meet Queen Healing, and she's kind of a bitch. And then you turn around and you get to meet Daida. And Daida's like, he's what you think a shitty prince would be. Like, King Joffrey came to mind when I first met Daida. I was like, oh, I hope somebody poisons the little bitch. Like, oh God.
Is that from Game of Thrones? Because I've never watched Game of Thrones.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Yes.
He was snobby, but at the very end of the show, it's kind of like he had his own arc.
Well,
you never saw this arc, but
the thing you saw with Daida and with Queen Healing was they cared for Boji.
Yeah.
Like, there was never any, like, fuck that guy. You know, I hope he, like, mind you, there was a little bit of time when Daida became king where he wanted to kill Boji. But, like, beforehand, it was always, you're not good enough to be king because you are not strong enough. You need to be protected. That's the whole thing with Queen Healing and with Daida.
Pretty much.
We need to protect his ass. He does not need to be at the front.
Boji ain't shit. It's how they treated him. Like, he just really wasn't Tater. Which is, as you get deeper into the story, everybody's motives and personalities and stuff start to unfold. And it seems that when you first look at the show, the first time you're introduced to all these characters, you make up an opinion of them all. And then you're fucking wrong. They're all deeper and different than what you assumed they were at first. You know, first impressions last the longest, but you spend enough time with me, you'll know. I'm better than that.
This is the show where it's like, oh, you're the bad guy. Oh shit, you're not the bad guy. Oh, you're the bad. You're not the bad guy.
Who
the fuck is the bad
guy? And that's where we come in back to Prince Daida. Prince Daida has a magic mirror, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs type. Magic mirror talks to him, gives him counsel, gives him advice, tells him what he can and can't do, kind of, sort of, just kind of suggests to this kid who he should be. The mirror, its name is Miranjo. We'll come back to Miranjo later.
MattMatt, what came out of King Boss when he died?
A demon.
Thank you.
A big red demon, too. Big red demon. When King Boss died, he had a will set up, and he named in his will for Boji to take his place as king. As soon as he died, a big red demon came out of him, freaked the whole fucking kingdom out. and then they went and had a meeting without the princes, the two princes. And in this meeting, they decided who they were going to actually make king. Were they going to follow King Boss's will, or were they going to pick Daida to be their king?
So that's not how this meeting worked. This meeting was Queen Healing got all the guys together and weeded out who wanted Boji to be king.
That's what I was getting at. It's not that it didn't go the way I said it went. There was just extra intention on that.
Like, that's how I felt about Queen Healing. It's like, I want to like you, but you were being such a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Like, really the whole time, it's like, okay, so the king wants his son to be king. The first in line, as it always usually is, right?
Right.
And then it's like, we can't have that. I have my boy who's stronger. He's going to be king. Yeah. And it's like, everyone who wants Boji to be king, raise your finger, right? And everyone that did was like, okay, you two are out.
Apis
it's
and
like, bitch, we going by the king.
It was Apis and like the little half balding counselor, is it counselor or
something like that? He hid for the whole show.
Yeah, I mean, do you blame him?
He hid in the vase for the whole show.
You blame him?
Nope. Him in the flat top. I do want to say one thing though. You guys got to think about it. In this time, they're in the medieval times, and like a fucking demon comes out of a man that just died and points at Boji and starts laughing.
Yep.
So what are they going to take from that? What are they going to take?
You say so, but what would you? Real life 4 million, right? Let's say your dog died, right? And when your dog passes, you're like, oh man, you're my favorite dog. I love you the best ever. And your dog's like, yeah, I love you too, man. You're the best ever. And then a demon comes out of its body.
Oh, I'm putting a leash on the demon. I'm keeping the demon as
yeah.
I don't think he realized how demons work. The demon's gonna put a leash on you.
The fuck it is. I like to wrestle.
You'll be leashed by that demon. But that big red demon pops up, starts laughing, disappears in the smoke, and essentially Queen Healing uses that to denounce King Boss's will and be able to put Daida in place.
You can't convince me that she wasn't going to do that anyway.
I'm not saying Daida wasn't a bad choice.
I don't think she would have had a good enough recourse to pull it off if she hadn't done it in the first place. Like if she didn't use that to her advantage, because like I think these guys are pretty honorable, you know, and if Boss said so, and there's no reason to doubt Boss's words,
then Boss's words
what Boss says goes, even when Boss is gone, is what they were originally going to do. Essentially, Boji's handler and someone else turned their back on Boji. It was fucking Hilling. It was Domus, the Swordmaster, and Hilling are the ones who essentially voted Boji out for real. They were like the standing factors to get rid of Boji. Later, we get to see Boji at the inauguration where he thinks he's about to be crowned king, and his poor little heart gets broken. Mm-hmm. His poor little heart get broken.
And then Hilling has the fucking audacity to be like, why is he so sad? It's like, you fucking bitch, you know why.
Because he wasn't even there for the choice. He literally was like, I'm about to become king, and then like all of a sudden, Prince Daida is gonna be king. All right, see you later, guys.
Did you see how he looked at Domus hurt? He was so hurt looking at Domus.
Domus was like,
looking down.
Look away.
It's like, this is bullshit.
He's like, bro, no, Domus did that. That was Domus's doing. Furthermore, he just couldn't stand to look at Boji after he did that shit.
I did like how after that, Boji didn't take it sitting down and didn't like, just like, man, this sucks. Everyone's against me. He kind of just said, all right, you know what?
I'm going to leave.
It wasn't more like he's going to leave.
I mean, that's kind of how he went out there, looked at the window and was like, man, an adventure sounds cool. Fuck this place.
Well, because he ain't king. He ain't got to do nothing.
Hey, he did. That shit was funny. He tried to tie all the sheets together, and that shit wasn't even half the pillar.
He was going to make it, though. Before we get to that, I want to back up to this a little bit. There's a pretty big scene here that happened that kind of explains to you just how weak Boji was. They essentially put him in a sparring match with his younger brother Daida, which before we really, this is like when we get to meet Daida really, and we're hearing rumors about him beating the shit out of Bebin's captain, the captain of Bebin's forces, beat the shit out of him, and it's like, oh man, Daida must be the man.
But they were doing like air quotations, like he beat him, like that's the thing. Yeah, that's what made me feel like Daida wasn't that cool. Like
I don't know though, because when he got to Domus and Boji training, he forced Domus to actually kind of fight him for real, because he wouldn't train with Boji. Boji's too fucking weak. But how about you, Domus? You want these hands? And Domus was like, bruh, alright, let me see what you got. Oh shit, I gotta use two hands. And then he pretty much beat Daida into not into a pulp, but he beat Daida into submission, essentially.
So hey, you are good, but come on, check yourself.
No, I've been waiting all week to talk about this shit with Daida and Boji.
Like, so Boji jumps in the middle and wants to throw hands with Daida. He's like, man, that shit looked exciting. Let me get some of that. So they get out there with their little wooden swords, and so
Daida and him go at it, and Boji is dodging everything Daida's throwing at him, right?
Pretty much counterattacking.
He's counterattacking the whole time. What he's doing, he's avoiding getting hit and then hitting his opponent at the same time. Mind you, Boji doesn't have any power behind his attacks, obviously, right? Because he's weak. But he's also moving out of the way of everything that is at this time a skilled swordsman. Mm-hmm. Like this is
swordsman.
Swordsman. This is also, you got to think about this. They showed it in the back, in like a couple flashbacks. Boji was always bullshitting in the background, like drawing in the sand, while Daida is being beaten to a pulp and learning how to sword fight. Then you go to the, let me try this, and he is running circles around Daida.
Oh yeah, got him wore out. And
then they go, wait, don't fight like that. Don't, like, they basically went, you're not fighting fair.
What they said was, that is not the swordsmanship
of a king. Like, okay, so the king's supposed to go out and get stabbed.
I mean, Look at
me.
A king isn't going to go out there.
Don't look at the mic. Look at me.
A king is
supposed to go and get stabbed.
A king isn't going to go out there and dodge and love tap his opponent. That's not what a king is going to do. I realize he's not, but like at the same time, I think that's what they were trying to tell Boji, was like, you gotta put some heat on that shit. Like, you can't be out here just dancing. Like, that's crazy, Boji.
Cool, but that's not what they were saying. They were saying you can't just dodge everything.
Right.
And then counterattack.
But
they know for a fact that Boji doesn't have any strength.
If Boji were dodging and counterattacking and the counterattacks had weight behind them, they wouldn't have said shit. But it was the fact that he was running and not doing any damage. He had feathers in his gloves, so to speak.
But what gets me is that's not the way I took that scene. I took that scene as like, because they were like, quit dodging. Like they looked at him and was like, quit that shit.
Well, that's not what they said.
That's not how a king. Like,
that's not the swordsmanship of a king.
So you're telling me that a fucking swordsman doesn't dodge attacks? How many swordsmen in the show did we watch? Like, I get
swordsmen do dodge attacks.
I get that, but like, wouldn't you like praise Boji for the fact that he is running circles around a skilled swordsman? We're gonna tell him that he can't beat his brother like that. How about you stand there and take the attacks instead? Which is exactly what happened.
Would you take a coward and put him in the place as your king? That's the way they look.
He wasn't being a coward. Because he is running into those, like he's avoiding them. He's not running away from, like when we describe this, he's not running away from Daida. He is up in his face. Move.
Yeah, he's sidestepping Daida.
And tap.
From their perspective, especially who their king is, that's not the swordsmanship of a king. Like Domus himself stated to Daida right before this battle was that he modeled his swordsmanship after King Boss. Mm-hmm. So
I found it to be bullshit.
In his opinion, it is bullshit. Like in art, as a boxer, if I dodged and counterattacked, I'm doing great. And on points, I'm doing great. But in a life and death situation, there are no points. There's no
the points is living.
The points are living. So if you can't accomplish to actually take your enemy out, you're fucking useless on the battlefield. That's the way they felt about it. And I can totally see that point.
In my perspective, I can see both your reasoning, both MattMatt's and Kadawfi's, that, like, yeah, life, in a life or death situation, it's life or death.
Right.
But in MattMatt's situation, if that was like a sharp weapon, like a skinny sword or something, and he would because he did slice across damn Daida's stomach, touch his arm, like
hit him in the jugular at least 3 times.
Yeah, he wouldn't die like immediately, but he would die from blood loss or maybe a quick slice to the fucking gut or something.
Now, also something you have to factor in is that these people know who Boji is, and these people know Boji can't pick up a short sword.
He can't.
He can't wield a dagger. He's too weak.
That is true.
His like when he did his stat points, he went speed,
dexterity,
no charisma,
and health. That's all he's got.
No, he's got charisma.
He does have charisma. You know, he is a Jarbold Guardian.
Right.
He speaks.
All right,
you're right, kid. I agree with everything you just said.
I mean, you ever heard a deaf person talk?
Yes.
That's what that sounds like.
I know.
That's what that sounds like.
Has a deaf person ever heard someone talk?
Maybe.
No.
But what depends on when they became deaf.
Right.
The next scene afterwards kind of showed you, like, you guys were like kind of having an opinion about Queen Hilling, and you're like, man, she's a bitch. She's not really nice to Boji. And then she goes into the room and she has a very nice power. Like, I really like her power.
She had a pretty cool power. I give it to her.
And I don't like why they I hate how they because she never said it at the beginning, but now at the very end of the show, they started saying power. And I was like, I don't know about that, but I did like how she was healing him. And like
after Daida beat the shit out of him because he couldn't dodge.
All right. I don't think it hurts her life force.
Dodge.
It does take away her stamina.
Hold on. So before we get to the healing, before we get to Queen Hilling doing the healing, Daida did beat the shit out of Boji. After Boji sat still there, Daida was about to kill Boji. As a matter of fact, Apis had to stop the fight. Apis stopped the fight, and Daida walks off and goes, I bet you won't wield the sword now. Daida was trying to break that child. He didn't want Boji to be able to pick another weapon up. That boy's arms were broken. His face was fucked up.
Yeah, because Daida lost the fight in the first place.
That's because Daida beat his... That's the second... round 2.
Daida was embarrassed.
Yeah, Daida was super embarrassed. He was wore out. He was embarrassed. And nobody really saw nobody except Bebin really saw the benefit of what Boji was doing. And that's when we get to Queen Hilling getting into the room. And actually, we're catching this from Kage's perspective. And this was another little cool moment right before Healing shows up. Boji's fucked up in his room and Kage's up under his bed and shit. And Boji's over there trying to pick up a short sword, struggling. The poor little fella just covered in tears and band-aids.
Well, his arm's broken, so he really can't lift it up.
He couldn't have done that shit before. That's why he was trying to do
really
it. This is where Kage shows up and tells Boji, like, hey, man, you kind of real, homie. Like, I saw
you won that fight.
I saw what went down out there. They bullshitted you. They cheated. They put a cheat code in and beat you, dog. I saw it. They glitching. I got your back. From here on out, they ain't never going to happen.
Hey, they unplugged Boji's controller.
Hey, it's his shadow.
He's like, I got you forever and ever. And like Boji and Kage finally made like for real friends right there. That's when Queen Healing shows up and gives Boji his healing recovers him. I mean, it took some time, but she recovered him. He was essentially a new dude the next morning. We get back to where Boji was climbing out the window. He had his little sheets because Healing wouldn't let him leave his chambers. So he was like, fuck it, I'll sneak out. And of course, they caught him sneaking out, her and Dorsey. And Dorsey starts pulling him back up the little window. And Boji doesn't let go. He struggles. And the little makeshift sheet rope comes loose. And Boji starts to fall. Queen Healing loses her shit.
It literally leaps out of there.
Leap out the fucking window. And damn, Dorsey had to catch her. Was like, oh, no. Caught her by the foot. What are you doing? Hey, bitch, I'll get killed if you die. Stop. But she gets down there, and Boji's like knocked unconscious. He hit his head on the stone wall.
Landed on his bag.
And then landed on his bag. Specifically his little soft bag. Mm-hmm. Healing goes out there in her nice, pretty royal garments, and she fucking macho mans out that shit. She Kenshiro that shit. Was like, oh, bah! And then just busted out like amazing healing power. Did you see how big her arms were?
Oh yeah, she flexed out of that shit.
She had super arms, bro. I was like, I want to go to her workout trainer.
You see her husband, she probably got the best workout trainer ever.
I never thought about that till just now. Remember her husband? She has a child with him. Mm-hmm. Oh, good God.
Look here, bro. Queen Healing can heal anything.
That sounds...
anything. She's like this, healing while... We're not going to get into that.
Y'all are ridiculous. Just know she can heal anything. But this is kind of where we first get like our for real scene of Queen Healing not being a shitty person. Like, she's been kind of shitty up to this point. She's pretty cool now that she can heal Boji up, and then went on ahead and made the decision to send Boji on a mission. Let him go on an adventure. Tell you what, Boji, I got some parents on the countryside. You, Domus, and a man with the pompadour fedora.
Hakuro.
I tell you what, boy, that pompadour shows up a lot, and it's starting to show up on nicer characters. Cool Bar being the number one.
I don't think... Okay. Hakuro as a homie, I can trust him as a friend. I wouldn't have him as a battle homie.
No, he's not that dude.
Especially since he failed his objective 2 days in.
If Domus would train him a little bit more because he was supposed to, until Domus said, you know what, I'm going to get stronger and just leave you out of it.
Domus, what did Hakuro say? He said, this dude sucks at training. He only knows how to train himself.
But he was but he did train him enough to have strength enough for the giant crossbow.
For the ballista he was carrying.
That was a big ass ballista.
They did strength training. He didn't have time to teach him swordmanship. He said that.
Yeah.
He was like, here's a big ass crossbow. You can hold that.
They were probably only together training for a month at the most. So, right. So we ended up going on this little adventure. Domus, Hakuro, and Boji. And a lot of little things ensue, and they wind up at this town that has a giant fire pit in the middle of the town. What'd they call it?
Hell's Gate.
I think it was the pit of the underworld or something.
It's the gates of the underworld.
Gates to the underworld. And the underworld is another kingdom in the ranking of kings. There's a king down there and knights, and the knights of the underworld are apparently the most vicious knights on the planet. If any monsters get out of the underworld, they're coming for that ass.
You see how they
Dude, they killed an ogre while he was shopping.
They killed him.
It wasn't even like you coming back. It was like...
They killed him where they stand.
That man was just getting some apples and some oranges.
Hey, can I get some fish and some... Hey, are you that...
You can get this blade, son. That's what you can get. I mean, the Knights of the Underworld are really cool. They wear gold. They have these big horns on their helmets.
I like the differential between them, almost like stormtroopers, where each of them have a different design.
Yeah.
Like the captain has the lightning bolt in his eye.
Right.
And that's another cool thing that I like about the show. Like I was saying, it was squishy because like even when people wear armor and shit like masks, it still shows emotion through their masks.
Yeah, their eyes move and everything like that.
Yeah.
I
like you saw a lot with the knights, but you also saw it with people like that other guy.
So how did Boji meet the king of the underworld and the captain of the underworld?
Because people are shitty at their jobs.
Well, Domus was showing Boji the gateway to the underworld. He was showing it to him, and in this gateway, it's this big ass chasm that fire erupts from every few moments. And he's like, Boji, come take a look at this shit. Boji, come here, bro. This shit cool, son. Come here, man. Check this shit out, bro. And like as the fire erupts, Domus pushed Boji off the cliff. Now, why did Domus do that?
Because Prince Dida is a prick.
King
Okay,
Dida.
let me put quotations, king.
I know, he was king.
King Dida said, I think my brother needs to be eliminated. Eliminated. I know.
That's not how Pig Latin works.
Exil.
I don't care. Keep that in. I don't care. But it's just like.
But yeah, pretty much. He sent Domus to execute Boji because Domus had already betrayed Boji.
No, I thought it was the yes.
He sent Domus to execute Boji because Domus betrayed Boji in the little council meeting, and then to prove that he was going to be loyal to Dida, Domus was supposed to kill Boji.
Okay. He tried to poison him first. Let's not go over that part.
He did try to poison him,
which wouldn't have worked.
Shit, you're right.
It wouldn't have. I thought about that later on.
I thought
that's
I didn't even think about that.
Y'all remember when we get to that scene later that I have something I want to say.
I forgot mushrooms. Anyway,
that's actually a little small detail that I didn't even think about.
Yeah, I missed that myself. It wouldn't even have
mattered. Wouldn't have done it.
He would have ate the food and been like, "This tastes a little."
Domus would have been sitting there like,
actually, hold on. Human poisons don't work on giants. Is what you're getting at.
Yeah. No, they can eat anything. Boss was eating fucking buildings.
Despa said that human poisons don't work on giants. However, they know that probably. The people of that kingdom probably know that.
I like to believe that they wouldn't have worked.
Let's put that in the gray area, and then we'll say it's a good thing.
I'd like to believe that we didn't see like 3 other assassination attempts from Domus. He just failed and got tired of it and was like, hey, Boji, look at that big asshole.
Push. And Boji did go flying too.
It still didn't work.
Boji did go flying.
Because you know who saved him?
Who saved him?
His goddamn shadow.
His bag.
Kage. Kage was in the bag.
Dude,
on
like the whole time. That's what you were saying earlier about like you meet the person and have your opinion on it and it changes. Like I was saying, like who's the bad guy? The Snake Man was like, you're gonna get the fuck out of here. But the audience thinks that he got the fuck out of there when in fact dude was like, okay, get in the bag.
Get in the bag, son.
Get in the bag and watch him.
Like
the whole time it was like because you were like you're sitting there looking at each character like, oh, you have your intentions. Oh, you're loyal to Boji. Oh, you're loyal to Boji too.
What about you? Oh, you don't give a fuck.
Oh,
you're the queen cool.
You're just Boji. Oh shit.
As long as the queen cool, you happy? You good? You're good. You're good. The only real people I thought really were evil for real from the Giddy Up was Hilling and Dida. Like I just had the worst taste in my mouth for them.
Dida was evil, but then he got like stuck.
Which when Hilling, after she after she healed Boji, after he fell out the castle, when they showed her in the room, and like she was kind of like having memories of like, you know, some of the shitty shit she said to Boji and some of the shitty things and a couple of the good memories, and she was like,
I'm fucked up.
Maybe I should get that boy something. You get his ass on up out of here. Let him go on an adventure.
Go be a man.
Yeah, get out of here, bitch. But anyway, speaking of Boji, I actually sorry. So in Kaniku Man,
I thought we weren't gonna have Kaniku Man up.
So
did Kaniku Man do Ranking of Kings first?
Yes.
What?
So in Kaniku Man,
the ranking wrestlers.
Kaniku Man himself, Suguru, he is the prince of Kaniku Planet, and what his coach calls him is Prince. Always calls him Prince. In Japanese, they don't say Prince; they say Oji. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. So in Ranking of Kings, his name is Boji, right? So I looked it up. I Googled it. And I was like, what does Boji actually mean? Because when I was watching Kaneko Man, I thought he was calling him Boji. And I was like, what does this shit mean? And apparently, in Korean, it means pussy. Like a punk ass bitch. But in Japanese, I think it means like a crybaby. Like the crybaby prince.
Prince pussy.
The prince crybaby. No, in Korean, it's pussy. All right, you gotta make that distinction.
You know what I noticed about the show for real though is like besides like the main character being called that. That's what's cool about shows nowadays. I've noticed is when shows have their own animation style, I kind of gravitate more to those.
Yep.
Right. If Ranking of Kings was drawn like any of the regular shows, besides it sucking ass because it would suck ass, because that would be like I'm not watching that ugly shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't have watched it.
This show wouldn't be like whatever it's rated. It would be rated a lot more because like people get done up for real in this show, but like they get done up in squishy mode, so it doesn't count. Like they get done up in Toon Force. Like they look like they should have Toon Force, but they don't. So if they were a regular like fucking I don't know. Yu Yu Hakusho, damn High School of the Dead looking shit, or fucking, modern day anime, like cut and paste, copy paste anime. Like, it'd probably look a lot more bloody and, you know what I'm saying?
So Naruto, when they threw up like half a pint of blood.
I like a lot of the elements of the show, how they use it. Like, a lot of the more gruesome scenes, they skip it. They don't skip it, they
show it, but it's squishy.
They turn the camera on you sometimes.
It's colorful.
Like, you don't always get to see people being stabbed or things like that. Sometimes
or like people's wrists getting cut.
You just see the blood, sometimes. And a lot of it is, a lot of the actual combat is more technique technique and skill than it is raw power. Once you saw, when Domus was sent off on his mission, Bebin was also sent on a mission. Bebin was sent on a mission to take out Apis. Now that fight, I know it was quick. I know it was fast, but was that not a good fight? They stood there just looking at each other for a minute, and it's like, Dida sent you? And then here comes Bebin. With that curved sword or whatever the hell that thing was.
That should look like it hurt like
that crisp blade he had. Oh man.
Are you approaching me? Like that's what it felt like with him too.
I can't beat the shit out of you without getting closer.
And like the calmness of Apis. Because like Bebin pulled off some cool ass technique. You have to see it. I can't describe it well. But he's essentially with his sword gliding down Bebin's spear. I don't like the way that sounded.
So Bebin is careening.
All right. Can I add my 2 parts about the hands?
Look, hold on. I'm gonna say this. All right.
So
Bebin, the snake handler, is.
We're gonna get to like episode 10.
So Bebin, the snake handler, is trying to attack Apis, the spear of the king, and and Bebin breaks the head off of the spear.
Breaks the head off the spear.
Yep. You can get it. You can get through this.
And then he stabs or slices into the spear to try to gain momentum to run forward to run forward.
Watch your words carefully.
To Apis.
You're wearing socks.
Whereas Apis about to be murdered. And this is what was really cool, how he just switched grips and
thrust.
Nope, he didn't thrust yet. He switched grips and shook Bebin off.
Like a bow stab. That shit was cool.
And when he did, I was like, oh, so what's he gonna do now? And then he straight stabbed Bebin in the chest with the dull side of a fucking spear. I was like, ah! Oh shit, the dude with the mustache is dead already. Damn.
Ball sack chin and everything.
This shit was crazy. And I thought that was one of the, not the coolest fight scene, but one of the first real fight scenes we got where there was some real stakes behind it. And you could see like how skillful these guys were. Again, it wasn't just raw power. There was plenty of skill and tact involved.
The 2 things I wanted to bring up while you guys were talking about the hand-drawn animation, the only thing I really didn't like of the animation was the noses of King Dida and Queen Hilling.
No, I thought it was perfect for their characters.
I just
sticking
like,
their shit and everything.
It just felt like they were like, damn, yeah,
snooty. They're snooty,
and then like it felt like Pinocchio nose. After
I think that's the point.
it would get like short in one scene and then look long as fucking another. I'm like,
just when they turn.
And I was like, oh my god, what the fuck?
And nose goes 3 inches when they turn to the side, bro.
And the second thing we were talking about, hand getting cut off. Coming back to the main story, while Bevin is getting stabbed by Apis, and pretty much the kingdom is kind of getting
thrown around.
I'm not saying thrown in disarray, but it's starting to get like crazy.
It's starting to see
whose side is everyone on?
Pretty much. Boji gets thrown off, and Hakuro finds out about it, and he starts fighting Domus, the swordsman,
the sword master.
And he cuts him right on his wrist. And he's like, you better cut that bitch off or I'm killing you.
Yeah, he was trying to make Hakuro cut his hand off because that was the hand he used to push Boji off the cliff.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that was the hand. That's why
Domus regretted his actions almost immediately.
Yeah.
Because he knows that it was wrong.
He tried to laugh it off, but then he broke down in tears. And like that was another one. I was like, maybe Domus isn't as much of an asshole as he looked either.
No one is. It's like fucked up.
But it's like he has feelings. He did it because like as soon as he turns around, he's laughing about it. He gets those flashbacks of Boji and all the time he spit with Boji.
To me,
like that one right.
This whole story and like with the characters, there's no just straightforward character.
No.
There isn't like there's always a complexity to every character. You can't just have I'm a killer. Like, hold on. There was three. There was three.
There were three nobody ass.
How you say poopity poop?
Poopity poop ass.
Fucking Crimson the assassin, the black assassin, and
it was Red the Copperhead.
Was it Red the Copper?
Black the brunette, and Zaku, the king of thieves.
Everyone that was involved with
Bandit King or something.
Everyone that was involved with Dida and or Boji with Boss. Mm-hmm. None of them were cut and dry bad guys. Everyone had their motivations.
I still feel like Apis is like the most like scatterbrained out of all of them.
I think the most scatterbrained person had to have been Kage. When he the shit, like getting back with the story with him going to go see the king of
the underworld,
right? And he's has him fight his fucking guard and everything, and then Boji breaks out straight. Like, man, I'm dead serious when I say that. Like when he's beating up Boji, and then Kage's like, wait, let him try to dodge and all that shit, right? And then like he was like, okay, no one's dodged this attack in 1,000 years, right? And he fucking thrusts the fucking the staff that he has, and Boji just like fucking after images through it. Yeah. Like just for a split second, I heard the first note of the Ultra Instinct.
You were like, dying for the Ultra Instinct,
dude. Like that's how I felt about it. But like then you got fucking the king being like, you're weak. I can't help you.
I'm gonna back you up just a smidgen. We ended up going to the underworld. We obviously got down to the bottom of that. Kage saved them, blah, blah, blah. Kage had a note in his pocket from Bevin to send Boji to the underworld to be trained by the greatest coach ever, the greatest trainer ever. He could take a weak man.
Something.
It was something. He could take him and turn him into a man. Long story short, we wind up in front of King Dessa. King Dessa is pale. He has an evil man mustache, like the guy who puts the chick on the train tracks. He looks like that.
He's like this. He rolling the fucking the mustache in his hand.
I call him Wario or Waluigi. The way he looks, I mean, he just this big imposing figure. He's the one who got Boji to fight his captain of the underworld.
I like the captain of the underworld guard. I think
that was another one of those people where it's like, I don't know if you're a bad guy or not. Nah.
So when they did the see if he had anything worth about him, when he did the dodging and everything, I like how he was like, that was fast. Just a hair's breadth.
Mm-hmm.
Just a hair's breadth. Yep. And then he fucking started throwing real fast, and Boji's just fucking It wasn't Ultra Instinct. He's just like, man, he's trained so much.
I know. But like that's how it felt when I saw it. It was like that's their reaction to it. Where it's like, how the fuck did you do that? No one starts that fucking attack in 1,000 years.
And then they're about to he says Desha, King of the Underworld, is like, you're too weak. I can't do anything with you. And Kage shows up and rolls out and says, hey, man, I have a note from Bebin with somebody from, like, named Des something. It might be you, Des, huh? He reads it, and you can see it in his face. He doesn't really want to read it, and then his eyes get real big, and he rips the shit up. And
he was upset.
Get your ass out of here.
Yeah, Dessa was pretty pissed off about that. And essentially, the captain of the underworld decides to tell Boji, like, hey, man, you looking for the wrong Des something. You looking for Despa.
You're looking for his brother.
His brother.
Why do you get so mad and rip up our note?
Oh, he likes to fuck with people. That's why.
Yeah, that's why. He's an asshole.
No, he said that that the brothers have kind of a I wouldn't call it sibling
no,
rivalry.
it's because he wanted to fuck with Boji.
Well, it was both. It was both because he has a rivalry with Despa, and he likes to fuck with people. So he fucked with both of them.
But I did like how the captain, like, he gave him enough respect to say, hey, you're in the wrong place. You need to look for this. Like, because he was like, okay, you kind of have some skill, but you're not strong.
Right.
But
like,
I'll give you enough respect to do that.
And Dessa knew exactly who Boji was when he saw him. He's like, oh, you boss's boy. Bitch.
Because
that's his rival at the end of the day.
That's his rival.
Meeting
Despa was awesome.
Y'all should have watched that and subbed. Despa and Dessa, the way they sounded in dub, I hated it. It almost ruined the show for me.
Despa was cool because it was our main man, the Prince, All Might, Kuwabara, all them boy. But it was just regular old Piccolo. It was Chris Sabat.
Is that who the voice actor was for Dessa and Despa?
Despa.
Just Despa.
Because
really?
you heard him talking and he had that flair to him. And like
Woo!
all you no,
it was like
flair.
Sorry.
It was one of those.
You said the word, I'm sorry.
But
flair.
Woo!
He had the mustache and all that shit. And he was like, I can't train you. Oh, you need to I like Despa's motivation where it was like, you got some money? You got some bread?
You got some paper?
You got some bread?
and like Boji's like looking in his pocket. He's like, I ain't got nothing. And
he pulled Kage pulled out a fucking pouch of gold and all that shit.
It was a chest.
No. The first time it was a pouch.
First.
Because
That's
he's
right,
like
that's right.
look at this shit. Woo! That's not enough.
Ain't enough bread, Bubba.
And then pulled out a fucking chest of jewels and gold, and he's like, "Oh God, I'll train you."
Kage over here talking about that's my life savings. I mean, I just stole it from Boji's kingdom, but that's my life savings.
I thought that shit was funny too.
And then he's like, "I'll train you," and then got him inside and was like, "By the way, you're also going to do all the cooking and cleaning around here."
Until they found out he can't cook or clean.
Oh. No.
Boji can clean.
No, Boji can clean.
Cooking.
That shit, that was another thing. That like the hand-drawn moments in them shit where like, Boji got up early, he cleaned a little bit, and he decided to cook breakfast for him, right? And they like sit down and Boji's fucking eating all the food and shit. And he's like, oh, this is great, I'm like, well, if Boji's eating it shouldn't be that bad, right? And they take one bite. And then like the camera just pans in to Despa's face, like that whole, every anime's got that scene where someone's going crazy, like, don't let him in the kitchen ever again.
Right. I think he hit them with some drugs and that shit, right? Because he had mushrooms and acid and all kind of shit.
Didn't cut up the carrots, didn't
cook the fucking eggs
whole egg in there,
shell.
shell and all. And Boji was smashing it. He thought it was the best thing ever. And that's when you
find out that giants can't eat anything.
Yeah,
and it just threw in like spices and shit. It looked like, I was like, maybe, just maybe, it looks like bad and it tastes really good. No, it was bad.
I love how they're dying over in the corner and Boji's just
smashing.
This is delicious. Oh, this is great.
We should never let him near any kitchen ever again.
After this ridiculousness, they start to finally get to Boji's training, which the only part you really get to see of it is Boji picking out a weapon. But then you still don't even get to see that shit. You see him go into the room and the weapon cabinet, the weapon room, the weapon locker, whatever you want to call it. The armory. There's a whole word for that, isn't it?
Yeah.
The armory. He goes into the armory, and I mean, it's just like any Matrix movie you've ever seen. You open up the doors, and there's
the
giant
Dragon Slayer sword
with all these legendary style weapons all over the place. It's kind of like when you go to when you're playing an RPG, and you go to the weapon shop. And there's some cool ass weapons lying all over the place, but you can't buy none of those.
You're not.
No. You can buy a frying pan.
You can have one boxing glove. Well, what about that Dragon Slayer? You ain't level 12 yet. That's like the only part of your training you get to see.
Well, yeah, I mean, we get to see him try to pick a weapon, which he can't even hold a hatchet. He almost died picking up a weapon. He almost, if it wasn't for Despa, he died.
Did you see the foreshadowing? If he would have got the hatchet and didn't know how to wield it, it only showed the top of his head.
Yeah, he was about to die is what I was getting. Yeah.
No, when he, when Despa had it in his hand, it just looked like he cut his head off.
It was about to cut, yeah. He was about to be guillotined by the axe, by the hatchet he picked up.
Not even an axe, just a
hatchet. That was about to be terrible. That was going to be the worst death ever. But
all you really see from the training is like Boji getting out the training room, Kage picking him up, putting him in the bed. He's dead tired.
You ready for him every day.
They are doing some shit. Kage's just clean. He's pretty much Kage's the house bitch. He's pretty much cleaning, cooking, making sure everyone's got
putting Boji to bed.
Everyone's good to go.
Dragging Boji to bed in a wagon.
and Boji's like working real hard. And in this show they really don't show you time. Like, they don't know how long Boji's been doing this or anything. But once the training's over, you see Boji with, like, okay, hold on. In between the training, Kage's really wondering what the fuck is happening in there.
Yeah.
And he finally sees the boulder being split. He doesn't see it be split, but he sees a boulder split.
He felt it and heard it. Because he was outside sweeping, and then the world just shook. What the fuck? He goes running inside. Hey, you guys okay? Despa cracks the door open and is like, mind your motherfucking business. And then Kage looks in the room and Boji's standing in front of a boulder that's 10 times his size. And it's like,
There was a flashback in between that training session when it showed Boji being born and King Boss. King Boss like handing his child back to Boji's mom. And him crushing the boulder in half.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was that for some reason.
And he gained that strength?
No, not that. I thought it was the actual boulder. Like, it was showing what his dad could do.
That's what you're saying.
And I was like, because I'm telling you, man, the end of the training, when he gave him the sheath, I thought it was just a fucking sheath and handle. Straight up. I thought it was a sheath and handle. I was like, man.
He pulls it out and confetti comes out.
I was like, there's
the Joker?
There's no fucking, there's no sword on that. There's nothing. He's talking his way out. There's talk no jutsu. That's it. There ain't no way Boji has an actual weapon.
I mean, Boji can talk.
You can put Kage across his face.
There could be a mask. But yeah,
as far as that rock you were talking about, though, I think that was some foreshadowing. Because what did Boss do when he cracked that rock? What was his statement? This is where I'm putting my kingdom.
Yeah.
Boji cracked his rock, and as we know, Boji didn't take over the kingdom of Boss. He went and created his own. I think that was some kind of representation there. It was like, once you can do that, once you're the man enough to do that, you should be the man enough to be able to establish your own kingdom.
It's understandable.
I think that's kind of like that point there. What I think. Again, I've missed all kinds of shit, and I haven't seen the show 3 times.
Like I said, I thought it was Boss's fucking rock. Like, it was Despa just showing like, hey, look what your father did. I thought that was it. And then the sheath and the fucking, I thought it was just a hilt. I thought it was a fucking hilt.
Around this time, isn't this when, the plan starts to go under?
This is exactly when it starts to kick off finally. So, we're going to go back to the Kingdom of Boss, and we're going to rewind a few little minutes here.
Yeah.
So, over here in the Kingdom of Boss, we have Moranjo trying to convince Daida that he's not going to be as strong as Boss. He'll never be as strong as Boss. Daida's like, nah, bitch, I got this. Don't worry, I got this. And so here comes the judge for the ranking of kings. Now, whatever rank the Kingdom of Boss was with King Boss around must have been a nicely prestigious rank. Because by the time Daida's little garbage ass got done testing for his ranking of kings, they were dropped down to 66th place.
It was like 90th place.
It was 66th.
Oh, well.
66th place.
Wasted no time.
I mean, Daida was so garbage apparently compared to his father that, and here's the thing. With the ranking of kings. The ranking of kings is not just decided upon strength of the king. is to decide upon strength of the king, prosperity of the kingdom, and happiness of the people. Those are the 3 criteria.
That's understandable.
Right. So for Daida to have dropped down to 66, people weren't happy. He was garbagely. He wasn't strong, but he was strong, but he was garbage compared to his padre. And the prosperity probably was still there. That probably hadn't changed yet.
Because it ain't been too long.
Right. And Daida had barely just learned the lesson about people that he called weak, like his own brother, handicapped. They took Daida out in the street, had Daida see a man who was blind, deaf, and mute. And Daida's like, oh man, if that was me, I'd just fucking kill myself. Nah. And they was like, so you telling me he's stronger than you? He has a more willpower than you do, Daida? And he has less than you?
And then it was like, oh, my brother's been doing this his whole life.
And it's like he started to get a realization in that moment, you know? So after he loses the ranking of kings, dude's sitting in the nightmares because of Moranjo, causing nightmares of him being a loser ass. So he gets up and he's like, hey, whatever sensu bean or fucking power scale boost you got for me,
who the strongest was.
I need that now. I need that boost now. Moranjo was like, good. Glad you said that. Took him down to a secret lair, made some secret sauce. I ain't gonna tell you how she made the secret sauce. You gotta see that process. Made the secret sauce and tried to get Daida to drink the secret sauce. Daida was like, nah.
Would it be the boss sauce?
Boss. It was but she tried to get him to drink the secret sauce.
McDonald's got boss sauce.
Boss sauce.
Szechuan sauce.
No.
But essentially, Apis comes back into the picture. Pissed the fuck off that Bebin tried to kill him. And if Bebin tried to kill Apis, who would have told Bebin to do that? Who would Bebin have listened to do that? King Daida.
He didn't say it.
He knew. That's why he showed up when he showed up.
I did like this scene where it was like, my allegiance lies with Boji, and then he figures out who's in the mirror, and he's like, oh, and then you just get to see the most satisfying wallop in the whole
man.
Oh
man.
I thought his fist was gonna go through his spine.
The way Apis punched that little boy, the way that man punched that child, that was like when Vegeta punched through Zarbon.
Is that child endangerment right there?
Who cares?
Don't matter now.
He's the king. Who cares? He ain't a child no more. So from here, they force Daida's unconscious body to drink the boss sauce.
The boss sauce.
They force him to drink it, which this some way somehow yanks King Boss's soul from death and puts him inside of Daida with his strength added as well. Daida, I don't think we've said this or not. Daida's not a giant. Daida's a regular people-sized person.
But he's got
and he has super strength. Like Daida's mega strong. Once Boss's soul and power was compressed into Daida, there's some Ant-Man level shit going on there. Like, dude's skin was mega hard, like diamond. He was elitely strong because once you put all that strength into a tiny package.
But he was also boss.
He was boss.
Yes.
Okay.
He's literally boss now.
Okay. The episode after that, there was a certain scene that made it look so cool. It was King Daida, boss, sitting in the king chair. And if you saw, both of his eyes were different. Mm-hmm. There was a blue eye, which was Daida, mm-hmm. and the brown eye, which was boss. Mm-hmm. And it was like,
I think it was
something was fighting there or transitioning into it. Because Daida immediately, was it immediately after?
Daida was knocked the fuck out, and when he woke up in the dark, he woke up in Tsukiyomi.
I don't want to call that the
shit. What else would it be?
Because he didn't get his dream. He just got a void.
I tell you what, he woke up in the Kamui dimension.
Okay, I'll take it.
That'll work. Anywho, so Daida waking up in the Kamui dimension has like no unearthly idea why he's sitting inside of a dark room. He tries to remember what he can, and at the end of the day, boss has his body. He hadn't figured it out yet. He doesn't really figure it out until he hears his mama looking for him.
Yeah, she's yelling.
Yeah, because Healing figures it out. Like, when it not figures it out, boss tells everybody, like, oh, I'm boss. As a matter of fact, your boy Hokuro came back to tell Queen Healing what Domus did. I love her next words. Limb from limb. Hokuro looks up from her like, what you talking about? Rip him limb from limb.
Which pissed me off just a little bit.
Not me, because he was sent out there to fucking protect Boji. And he did not. And then he had the nerve to come back with his little raggy head hanging down to go, I failed, Queen, and the prince is dead. Limb from limb, motherfucker. Rip him limb from limb.
Hey, Domus did give him a warning that if you do go back, they are going to fucking do that.
Yeah, and he was honorable about it and went to go take his whooping. Hokuro went to go take his whooping.
Hold on. And Domus showed up on the slide and was like, hey, I'm going to help my boy out.
And then Boss saved him, was like, by the way, Boji's not dead, y'all dumb fucks.
Yeah, Boji's still straight. Don't worry about that. And Healing is like, Daida? He's like, bitch, I'm not Daida. Don't you? I just told you I'm not Daida. Stop playing. He's like, bitch, you Daida. And she's like, all right, hold on. Let me show you something real cool. He takes this gigantic club, breaks it, and then takes it and forces it all together in his bare hands. And it was a club. But by the time he's done forcing it into them bare hands, it becomes a diamond. And he goes to hand that to Healing, triggering her little memory about how Boss came up and slid on her.
That's how he, yeah.
About how he approached her. He showed up to the original Queen in a Honda Civic. He showed up to Healing with a Lambo. It was like, come on, get up in this.
No, I'm going to tell you right now, that was the most awkward flirting with the original, with Boji's mama. Like, hey, you're the strongest giant around here. You want to make a baby?
She said, what? He's like, yeah, be mine. Please?
I was like, that's some bad flirting, man.
All right. So what you forget
that's only because
is that they fought first, and then afterwards is when they had that conversation, and he was like, "This is what I want," and she was like, "Well, you earned it. You earned it." I actually want to push forward a little bit because there's a chunk of this story I don't want to go over on the podcast, but I have other questions.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm going to kind of fast track it a little bit. We're getting to the point where now we know Miranjo is the villain. She's stuck in a mirror. Mirror on the wall. King Boss is back in Daida's body. Healing's pissed off about it. Now the kingdom is split in two. We have Boss and Miranjo, and nobody knowing what the fuck they're doing. And then you have Healing trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. We have that little faction set up like that. We have Boji bringing his ass back to the kingdom, and then we have Miranjo going to the underworld and snatching up some villains. Now, we've mentioned 3 of these villains already. There was Zuko, the bandit king. There was Red, the copperhead. And there was Black, the brunette.
Yeah, fuck them guys.
What other real motherfuckers did she bring?
So they brought 3 poobie-boos, and then they brought 3 real motherfuckers. All right, I'm gonna go realist. All right, it's Gaigan. Is Gaigan?
Mm-hmm.
Gigan.
I was gonna call him Gogan.
Gigan. It's a Gi.
Oh, okay.
Gigan.
Gigan.
Gaigan.
Oaken, the Sword King.
The Sword King of the Underworld.
Yes, Oaken, the Sword King of the Underworld. You're right. Yes.
And then King Bo.
King Bo.
They show up. They show up thinking, okay, what's up? Why is this girl break us out? What's happening?
Yeah, they thought shit was sweet for a second.
And then they said, okay, we can just like take over. And Miranjo.
Do whatever you want. Go cause it.
Do what you want to do, but don't attack me because you will get literally fucked up.
Yeah, she proved her point quick too. She's like, nah, peace, chill. Let him.
Hey, let him be dumb.
Let him.
Let him be dumb.
Let him. But she moves forward with her little goofy plans. Boji's on the way. The villains are trying to take over the kingdom. Shit's starting to get out of control. This is where Oaken walks his little ass out to the main part of the main city of the kingdom, main town of the kingdom.
Oh man!
And just goes on a rampage.
I love how the guard's like, "Who the fuck is that?" And it's like, "I'm gonna show you."
We want to back up just a little bit because with King Bo, we gotta explain why King Bo does that shit at the very end.
I was gonna kind of get to him because there's a reason why I'm fast tracking.
There's
a reason why I'm fast tracking. There's some questions I want to ask you.
Okay, we also missed the assassination attempt on the Queen.
I skipped it for a reason. Okay. I skipped it for a reason. I'm fast tracking because I don't want to just throw up all of this show.
Yeah.
I think leaving some mystery into this show is going to give some folks reason to go watch it, to be honest with you. Because, like, in all honesty, this is a kick-ass show. And as we're sitting here discussing from our 3 point of views, I'm picking up shit I didn't pick up. And I've seen the show 3 times all the way through, you know, and I think that's really cool. So I think it'd be a good opportunity to kind of fast track to the point to where we get to
Oaken being in the village.
We get to Oaken in the village where he runs into the underworld, the warriors of the underworld, the soldiers. What are they called?
Underworld Guard.
Underworld Guard. Where we get out there and he slays damn near all of them, slays whatever poopity poop knights are out there for the Kingdom of Boss. You know, shit's just getting kind of crazy. Right here, we start to get some of the story of who Oaken, Despa, and Dessa are. Now, does anybody want to take that part?
I can take it.
Go ahead, Steve.
I just want to say something to clear up. I thought Captain was Oaken for a second because he had the same yellow or the gold thing. And I was like, okay, so Captain is like a part of the family. No, Oaken is the brother. He looks like Freddie Mercury and Despa had a fucking baby. Straight up. Like, Desha is the first child of the original king of the underworld.
Mm-hmm.
And he has all the magical powers.
All of it.
He can throw lightning strikes down
from anywhere.
From his throne. That's the coolest shit.
I love that shit where he's just sitting on his throne and his brother asks for, hey, you help me out real quick? I
bet.
The reason why they're here is because the original king of the underworld wanted to find immortality. So he started to do some lays. And he made a child that has all the magical powers, Desha. He made a child that has he has a little bit, like he can see foresight and stuff like that.
Very clairvoyant, yeah.
Despa. And then there's Oaken.
Who got apparently nothing at first.
Then when Desha finally took enough of his father, I would say destroying his own kingdom by killing people. He took his own mercenaries, his own guard, and defeated his father. When he defeated his father, Oaken got a latent ability of immortality. And that literally drove him insane.
So Despa, and Oaken's father is one of the original gods of that world. We actually got to meet one of the gods back in Boss's flashback. The bald-headed fella with the sharp teeth.
He didn't get the sharp teeth till the third eye came out, and that's
when. You know who I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about.
Right, cool. So
with the fucked up people.
So Dessa, Oaken, and Despa's father is one of the original gods. Once he saw that like the god's time was running out, he got obsessed about immortality. And the tragic thing is that was passed on to one of his children. That obsession. But it was passed on into a literal immortality to Oaken. And apparently, once you gain immortality, you lose who and what you are. You just become a beast, apparently. This is kind of why Oaken's one of the villains, because he's not really a dude anymore. He's just some kind of monster man with a really cool armor set and a weapon that heals itself.
He had to use his blood for that one, though. But
I mean,
it's a blood sword. It's a little blood sword.
It heals itself. A black blood sword at that.
And you know it'd be really cool? Like if he had figured out how, almost like, who's that one character from Soul Calibur who like breaks apart their sword into a whip?
Ivy.
That would have been the shit.
I thought he was going to for a minute.
Yeah, because I was just like, oh shit.
I was like, oh, y'all dead. Y'all done fucked up now, but...
To me, when Oaken lost his mortality, when they say he doesn't kill people, he kills people, but he does it in a way of he likes
them suffer.
He likes to see him suffer because he can't suffer no more.
Yeah, like he'll stab you in the lungs and watch you gurgle on your blood. Like he's that kind of dude. He's an asshole.
He wants to feel something.
Or what he did to King Bo and slit both his wrists and then stabbed him in the.
He stabbed. Man, he put a combo in his back with us. That was crazy.
I thought King Bo was dead. I thought that motherfucker was dead.
But
King Bo got his get back.
But I want to fast track a bit more. We get to a point where Oaken is being controlled by Miranjo. Miranjo's running the show at this point. She's still in that little stupid ass mirror. And Oaken winds up in the kingdom, coming to defend Miranjo from Copperhead, Brunette, and Zaku. Coming to defend against them, which this leads to Boji showing up in the kingdom. He's ready to fight. We got Boji showed up. We got Queen Hilling and her 4 knights.
And the realist in the room.
And the knight and her 3 little homies. Nobody knows their names. We got
those are Poobity Poo. And the realist.
We got Dorsey. We got
Queen Hilling.
We got Queen Hilling.
Dorsey's all we needed in that.
we got Abis is currently with Miranjo, and Bebin ain't dead.
Bebin in the shadows.
Bebin in the shadows, getting all the information he need to get, and watching over Boss in the prison. At this point, Boji shows up. Boji decides he needs to fight Oaken. Oaken pretty much annihilates fucking Boji. I'm not going to tell you what Boji's special powers are. I'm not going to tell you how it worked, but just know that Boji got his little ass whooped.
Because even Despa said that he was a perfect foil for
That's right. Because
Oaken's fighting style.
Because Boji doesn't kill with his swordsmanship. He does not kill. And with somebody who's immortal,
you can't do nothing with that.
You can't do nothing with that. There's nothing that can be done. You're just going to get your ass whooped. At this point, the big 4 show up. All 4 of them. They come back together to whoop up on Oaken's ass. And did they? No. Did they whoop on Oaken's ass?
In the end, no.
In the end, they didn't. But in the beginning.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. Hold on.
One had a head, one had a hand, another one had a hand, the other one had him in a full Nelson.
One had the whole body.
And Kadawfi in a boxing match.
I knew he was gonna say that.
In a boxing match.
Use my own logic on me.
In the beginning fight, in the beginning rounds, you could be whooping on somebody, but if they beat you in 8th, 9th round, who won the fight?
If Oaken could die, if he wasn't immortal.
Oh, he would have got fucking slit. Yeah, but that's the thing.
That first encounter, it's kind of like if Majin Buu couldn't heal himself, would that Kamehameha blast have blasted him in half?
But you were putting ifs and buts in something.
I hear you. And in all truthfulness, Oaken beat their ass. He wore them out and then beat their asses.
That's the thing about immortality. He could let them wear themselves out and then finally say, "All right, now I'm going to kill you."
Yeah, that battle of attrition, you're not going to win that against an immortal. I'm sorry, unless your name is King Boss.
Then you just destroy him, pack him into a little ball.
Take it, Matt. Take it, Matt.
At first I thought he was just going to turn him into a diamond, which would have been horrifying. I'd have loved it, but that'd have been horrible. Because, you got to think about it. Despa's sitting right there, and he wants to save his brother. You telling me he would,
what you doing? You can't.
But, at the same time, it was cool to see him, pack him into a ball, and he comes back out, and Boss is like, oh, no problem. Pulls a fucking chunk of dirt out the ground. Pulls a hole into the chunk of dirt.
What do you mean, chunk of dirt? He pulled up a rock.
He pulled up
a boulder.
He pulled up something. Yeah. And just, crunched him up again and then put him into the boulder and just packed him back in. It was like, you just stay there for a while.
Yeah, you just hang out. That's your new prison.
He would it kind of worked. He gave an immortal a funeral.
He did give an immortal a funeral.
He said,
"Bro, he was over there playing
for a burial."
He was over there playing whack-a-mole on his ass, with that big ass club. From this point, that gets rid of Oaken, and now we have to deal with Boji versus King Boss. which I don't want to spoil that either. I think it's probably one of the coolest, best looking fight scenes I've seen in a very long time.
Got himself a stand out of that one.
Bro, he did. And Boji running on the. When did Boji become Spider-Man?
Boji always been Spider-Man.
You
saw him running away from Queen Hilling.
You see him running away from them snakes when Homeboy was teaching him.
Again,
Mitsumata
turned into Ultra Instinct on him.
And he taught him how to read lips.
The reason why I wanted to fast track everything is I had a couple questions I wanted to ask you guys. All right, we've pretty much got everybody introduced at this point. Especially
at this point at the end of the show.
We're like at episode 23. What we're talking about.
We don't
right
want to
now.
ruin the ending.
And I wanted to skip a lot to leave a lot for y'all to see for yourselves. MattMatt. First question. Favorite character? That's a tough one.
Okay. My favorite character, Despa.
Okay. Why'd you like Despa so much?
Because like at first I saw him, I'm just like, I thought he was going to take the money and run. I thought it was going to be like, oh, you're looking for the wrong guy again.
Take the money and run.
Right, I thought that's what was happening. But like my favorite, like, yeah. What's the list? I can't. There's a lot of fucking.
Talking about the shield.
The shield of the queen.
Dorshi.
Oh. Two moments had it with me with Dorshi.
Talk about
a couple moments. Three. One, when they tried to assassinate the queen. Right. And he had his sword and everything. And
shields.
He had two shields. He was running around with two shields, bapping each of the hellhounds up, right? I don't know their actual term, but they're hellhounds.
Right. He was doing good until he became Captain America.
And then they tried to bite him, and then he was like, but y'all don't know, I'm covered head or neck to toe in body armor. And then he was like, you know what? Fuck it. Flex that shit off. Full armor. He flexed it off. And not like the plates fell off. He flexed through the plates.
And they flung off.
It was almost like dropping the weights. Whereas
that's exactly what that was, right? Dropping the weights.
And like I like how the mirror fucking Miranjo is sitting there like the hellhounds can get him as long as he doesn't have his armor on, and he hadn't have his armor on, and he was handing out brainbusters.
Yeah, I mean,
like he put down his weapons and everything, and it was like, okay, let me take the gloves off.
let me show you something.
And seriously though, because like Queen Hilling, mind you, Queen Hilling had to come and save him. But like he had ended the fight before he had to come and save him, right? And then the damn when he got smashed by the ogre, right? I thought he was dead. There was like a moment in the show from there on where it was like, oh shit, they're dead. Oh, they're not dead. Oh shit, they're dead. Oh, they're not dead.
Yeah,
right?
That last like 6 episodes.
A lot of people,
that.
Right? And it started with him where he got smashed by an ogre's fucking hammer, and like there's blood pouring out the bottom of it, right? And he just hears yelling. And he's just like, he like Randy from South Park, like, hey, I ain't hear no bell.
Liquid Gold, who was your favorite character, bro?
It's easy. Like, okay, it's easy, but there's like, it's like 1A, 1B, 1C. I'm just gonna say my favorite is Domus. It's gonna
Prince
be
Charming.
It's gonna be Domus.
No shit.
I like his conflict at the beginning of the show. He does have honor in himself, and my favorite part is getting him getting kicked in the nuts by Dessa.
That shit caught me off guard. I'm like, what's he gonna do? He keeps stepping closer to me, and it's.
But it was so sad because like Domus was whooping ass. He was feeling good. He's like, I'm about to level up. Oh, he's gonna swing. I'm about to get off of this, and
got kicked in the nuts.
If Tiz But a Flesh Wound was a character, it was him. It was like lost an eye, so lost a leg. Give me a fucking peg, I'll be all right. And then kept beating ass.
Body covered in scars today. Don't matter. Don't fucking matter. Motherfucker, he still pinned Oaken down with no foot.
Mm-hmm.
He still did it.
My favorite character is Domus, the Prince Charming swordsman, the master swordsman.
How'd you come to that conclusion for yourself? Like honestly, you picking Domus, very unexpected.
He is a very complicated person, but not as complicated as Apis. but he has honor in himself that he felt really sorry what he did immediately afterwards, but he was doing it for, I don't know if it was the right reasons or the wrong reasons. That's the thing about with me and Domus. It's like, he's got your back, but he looks for strength behind something. He has to have strength behind something, because if he thinks you're a weak link, he's going to scoot you off. He's going to brush you off like you're fucking nothing, which he did to Boji, but he found out Boji wasn't weak he was weak in the literal sense, not the, what is it, the figurative sense?
Right.
Yeah, Domus, Prince Charming, whatever, best character for me. I do want to say, though, close second is Masamata, the three-headed snake.
The two-headed snake?
Well, he did have 3 heads. But
I never saw it.
He did have, but I, as a person, hate snakes. Like, hate them. Like, dead snake's a good snake.
Oh, wow.
But watching the show, like, I'm not going to touch a snake, but
snakes have feelings.
But that was a snake that was cool as fuck,
snakes
though.
Have feelings.
Because there was multiple times in that show I was like, man, if he dies, man, I'm going to feel it. I'm going to feel it in my heart, man.
You know, not a lot of people give Mitsumata his credit, but he taught Boji how to read lips. He taught Boji how to dodge. Like, if anybody really trained Boji, it was Mitsumata.
Who trained Mitsumata?
Bebin. Now, Bebin is actually my favorite of the big 4. I like Bebin a lot because I actually from the moment you saw Mitsumata when Boji was a little one and the queen had to heal him, you know, I was like, oh, what a cool little feller. I like that little guy, cool little dude. And then you see the big version of him, it's like, oh shit, he's still he can talk. Oh shit. And then we get that recap of Bebin when he first met Mitsumata, when Bebin didn't have his mustache. Dude looked weird without the mustache.
With his ball sack chin.
But his other guards were torturing the poor thing. And they were getting ready to kill it, and you see the little thing cry. Well, I cried with it. I was like, oh, they're going to kill him. I knew he wasn't going to die.
You saw the big one.
Yeah, but I was like, oh my God, like, I still want to cry for him. Bebin being that kind to that snake, and then getting all the benefits that he got from that snake. The snake recovering him after Apis damn near killed him. The snake taking care of Boji, the snake being able to stalk Kage, the snakes, you know, there's just so much, and it all came from Bebin, the way I see it. You know what I mean?
Bebin trained those snakes, and he was like a master of them.
Yeah, he was the snake handler, the snake wrangler. He was Bebin's my favorite of the big 4, but my favorite overall character of the whole show has got to be King Boss. I love King Boss. Everything King Boss did, I felt like, yes, you need to have done that. When he discovered Miranjo as a child, when Miranjo had her hands cut off and her face flayed from her skin, what did Boss do? What did Boss do?
What he did was completely justified.
Boss slayed an entire village, took their pieces and parts, took Miranjo into a doctor and said, "Fix her."
I like how what happened to her. I don't like what happened to her, but when he found her, he fucking started murdering people. And then what fucking got me? What got me was those people, those piece of shit people. She was hugging her daughter. Don't kill me and my daughter.
Yeah, he made it harder for him to do what he had to do.
You know what he did? He said,
"Squash.
Fuck you, bitch."
And he almost killed Miranjo just to stop her suffering, but he had a better idea about it. Boss, what do you describe Miranjo as? He was like, she's like a mother, like a daughter, and like my best friend.
Oh, same thing.
And I really appreciate that relationship out of them, because they didn't have the relationship of like, oh, I love you and I want to be with you. They had a relationship of, I need to take care of you. Oh, you're my protector. I should protect you too. There's a sense of duty and pride between the two of them. This is kind of how we ended up in this show because of those two. But I don't want to get too deep into that. Go check it out.
So, Kadawfi.
Yes, sir.
What did you think my favorite character was going to be? What was in your mind thinking like, man, Liquid Gold gonna like this?
honestly, I thought you'd be the one to pick Dorsey, and I thought you'd pick Apis, Matt. I thought you would have picked Apis.
I think Apis was the one where it was like, I don't think you want, like, I understand where your ideals lie. I also think that you're in a situation that you can't get out of.
Oh yeah, he certainly was.
Where it was like, because he wanted to be on, Boji's side, but at the same time, fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
I just gotta say this: if I was a person in that show, it would be Dorsey.
You'd either be Dorsey or Gigan.
Hey, okay. I just want to say this.
I'm about to laugh. I'm sorry. When we talk about Gigan here in just a few moments, I tried so hard yesterday not to laugh. I tried this morning not to laugh. Say what you must about me, but I'm going to laugh. So please speak about Gigan.
All right. I know you're gonna laugh.
You don't even
I don't know why you're laughing.
You know what I'm laughing about.
But when he became a captive of the underworld, a prisoner, because some fucked up shit. Like, I felt like he was yes, a war crime. He became a war criminal because the people that Desha was, like, the mercenaries Desha were using, like, tortured one of his kind, and he got a child of his kind, like a baby of his kind, and they know that if a baby's getting attacked of his kind, that they'll come flying hell or high water, don't care.
Of that species will come in a berserker rage.
It does not care.
Yeah, no planning, no tactic, just like what the fuck.
And then Gigan was like, okay, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking do it. It's time to go.
Because they set the guys up, the other ogres or whatever the hell they were. Because what it was King Desha hired Gigan. Because, just one of these beast ass ogres should be enough, and he's a beast of the beast ass ogres. Shit, Desha's dad hired a whole fucking army of them. The humans did the fucked up thing that they knew how to do to get the army of those beast things into a compromising position. Now, unfortunately, here's the part where I'm about to laugh. So the torture Steve was describing, they had this little green child up on a crucifix, essentially. Had him tied to a crucifix.
Oh my God. Now I understand what you're about to laugh at.
Tell him your name.
Fuck off. That is fucking...
Bro, I have never seen a whipping like that in any medium. I haven't seen it in Dark Souls. I haven't seen it in the old slave movies that I used to have to watch growing up. I have not. Several. There's more than just Roots.
I know there's more.
But I have never seen such a fast back and forth whipping like they were putting on that child. I'm so sorry. Bro, they beat the shit out of it.
Kadawfi's just laughing about a child being beat.
Bro, they didn't have to animate it that well. They could have just maybe showed a guy whip the child once or twice.
No, they didn't show it.
Bro, oh my God. They fucking went to the max on whipping that child.
Well, I'm going to ask the question.
Yes, sir. Whew.
What was your least favorite character?
My least favorite character? I'll go with real main characters. I could say the pussy who hid inside the jar the whole time. But
I wasn't even going out like.
In all honesty, even at the very end of the show, it was still Daida. I feel like Daida had a really big arc in the show. I feel like he humbled himself. He was finally humble. I feel like he became a good person at the end of it. But even then, I could care less to follow Daida's story. I don't care. Cool, Daida, you have that kingdom, you do your thing, number 66. And, you have a very beautiful magician woman Don't piss her off or your dick's going to be on your forehead one morning.
That wasn't... Well, that would be spoiling the ending. You can't talk about that.
What?
About what Dinah does.
All I know is that Orochimaru and Sasuke levels relationship. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
It's a time.
Yeah. I'll take your body.
MattMatt, least favorite character.
Least favorite character? I'm going off the cusp of, oh, you're here. Yay. Sound weird for this. Dessa. Like, when he showed up...
Oh, when he showed up in Boss Kingdom?
When he showed up in Boss Kingdom, it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing here? Like,
He's trying to get his fucking criminals
We
back.
got bigger problems than you right now. How about you go talk to the Ranking Kings organization and send some lightning bolts over this way?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Deuces.
Yeah.
I mean, I think on the inside, he couldn't accept being number one if Boss was still around. Like, I
feel like he wanted to know for sure. Because that's the reason, like I'm not trying to cut you off, I'm sorry. But him wanting to come fight Boss.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, Boss is dead. Like, I realize that's Boss, but Boss has passed.
In his opinion, he was like, well, Boss is a giant, he's going to stomp my ass. But Boss is a little boy, I got him. And then Despa was like, look, bro. You ain't getting through. You're not getting through Boji. All right, you're not gonna get through Boji, and so you'll never even get to see Boss. KO ass to the house. I'll call you when we need you. God damn. I like that a lot.
And Liquid Gold Steve's least favorite character
was whom?
He gonna be like Kage's mom or some shit.
That was sad.
I'm gonna explain my reasoning, and then you guys can bombast me or agree with me or all you want.
Well, who's your least favorite? Liquid Gold Steve?
Lady Miranjo.
Okay. What's up?
All right. So, in my eyes, Lady Miranjo her name starts with M. And there's another thing that starts with M. Manipulation. She was such a manipulator in the whole show. Not in the case of Boss, because after you see the backstory of Boss and her, it's more of a relationship, not a relationship like a love relationship, but a friend relationship of he was trying to get stronger, she was trying to help him out.
Right.
But when she started getting trying to take Dinah's body to make Boss come back so he could be happy together and everything, and then what that clan did to her mom and her was completely fucked up. And what Boss did was completely justified.
Yes.
Completely. Like, murdering everyone, I don't give a shit. Fuck them. They can eat dirt while they sleeping with the fucking fishes. I don't care. But I'm going to go back to Naruto. And this is why he talked Nagato out of any more pain.
This is why Talk No Jutsu exists.
And I don't relate to saying Talk No Jutsu is the greatest thing, but violence begets violence, and she killed Boji's mama, and she got double-crossed right then and there.
Oh, on the spot.
And she had to take another deal with the demon that came out of Boss's body.
And now she's mirror on the wall.
Now she's mirror on the wall. Now that should have taught her to, like, hey, maybe, just maybe, I shouldn't have been this way. And that's why I'm not saying... Yes, I'm saying she's my least favorite character, but if she would have changed a few things, it would have maybe been like Zaku.
I can actually believe you. Like, I can understand why she wouldn't be your favorite, because she's not my favorite either. I do like her a lot. What I do kind of look forward to is maybe a side story of like maybe what she and Dida are like a couple years later. You know, like, did she ever turn it around? Is she still shitty?
She's only like 400 years old.
I feel like I realize what happened to her, but at the same time, like, once you start to figure out, and like she started, having her character development outside the mirror.
Yeah.
It turned into, stop bullying me. It's like, bitch, you know what you did. You did all of this. And
well, she was gonna accept it all. She was prepared. Like, she was really honorable in the fact, like, all right, boss, bust my ass. Go ahead and break the mirror and let's do this together. And then when they got there, she let boss believe that, like, all right, we're going to heaven together. Yay. And she was about to sit there and take her torture, her eternal torture. She was about to take it like a G. But, ranking of kings. Ladies and gentlemen, this, like I said, since 2021 has been my favorite anime. It went right to the top of the list. It meets all my criteria. It appears hand drawn. Yeah, the characters have oomph to them and gusto to them.
Squishiness.
There's great use of color when it's dark or when it's light. The characters are funny. They're charming. They're not quite exactly what they appear. There's a lot to unpack just in 23 episodes. To me, honestly, perfect show. 10 out of 10 10 million out of 10. This is highly recommended because
Liquid Gold said so.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Fighting Couch Potatoes.
For the second time.
For the 10th time, this has been the Fighting Couch Potatoes.
15,000th time.
If anybody has any problems with ranking of kings, I'm going to come do to you what Boss did to Oaken.
Put it in the comments. We'll read them.
Check us out on Spotify, YouTube. You're probably listening on YouTube. Leave a comment like Liquid Gold said so. Tell a friend, tell a stranger, just walk up to them and say, hey, you ever heard of the Fighting Couch Potatoes? And when they look at you and say, how the hell did you get in my house? Don't tell them.
And they'll say, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for stopping by.